The densely populated jungles and forests are somewhat of an enigma. Each year, scientists and researchers travel to these regions in the hopes of understanding what once stood there, and using new technologies such as lidar, it's allowed us to uncover some incredible discoveries, including things like long-forgotten settlements and pyramids. The fact that these regions are able to hide such megaliths in the modern day is incredible, and just shows us that we still have a lot to learn. Just recently, some interesting photographs were shared around social media, depicting what appears to be a large bipedal creature. The caption reads as follows: Wyoming's Game and Fish has just released these photos, after a months-long investigation into photos taken by a game and fish warden out in the field of a bipedal animal outside of Jackson's Hole. The warden came across the animal while investigating a suspected poached moose. While taking photos of the moose, an unidentified bipedal animal walked across the opening in the trees over to the water, and just continued walking down the creek until it was out of sight. The warden was unable to locate the animal once he'd lost sight of it, and believes it used the water to cover most of its tracks and scent, adding the streams and rivers are apparently its game trail. End quote. Others in the comment section said that this photograph was actually caught via a trail camera that was set up somewhere in Washington, adding that many areas close to this region have captured strange things on trail cameras, matching the description of these large bipedal creatures. To add more confusion, some conflicting reports have come out suggesting that this is actually an old photograph that was taken just west of Silver Lake, Washington. A hiker who is in the region said the following: On May 9, 2002 at approximately 3 p.m, my buddy and I were heading towards Mount St. Helens. We'd just passed Hofstad Bluffs heading east and I was looking down into the wash. There was a section that went between a heavily wooded area and the hillside leading to the road. It's approximately 300 yards to the bottom. I noticed something walking through the creek at an angle and heading northeast. It happened quickly and I yelled instantly to stop. I watched for maybe 5 seconds and I could see the space between its strides, and I knew it had to be bigger than a man from that distance. The arms were long and they were dark coloured. We didn't stop quick enough for both of us to see it. We scanned the entire area for at least 10 to 15 minutes, but saw no other movement. I could see the area where I assumed it left the woods and the ground did appear to have been disturbed. I could not see the bottom of the hillside where I was standing. End quote. Interestingly, this isn't the first time that hikers and residents within Washington have reported seeing such a creature. In fact, these sightings have now become somewhat of a regular occurrence that investigators have now labelled Washington as somewhat of a hotspot, and it's led hikers and investigators to go out into these areas in the hopes of finding some sort of evidence. What these creatures are though depends on who you ask, with scientists and anthropologists saying that you're not going to find such a creature, with them detailing that if such a creature did exist, and it was related to some great ape species or even a Neanderthal, then we would see evidence of things like bones in forests, saying that you would need a substantial number of these creatures to keep them going, and that as of right now the evidence points towards them not being genuine. Researchers who have looked into this topic have said this is actually helping them, and that they've said that we have to start with the process of elimination. Some of these investigators who have spent a large amount of time in these areas have said that there's definitely been some interesting correlations that they've picked up on. One being that sometimes when these creatures are seen, strange lights have also been seen in the nearby area. What many people find interesting with these reports is that they aren't anything new. In fact, they can be traced back hundreds of years. Robert Robinson has said that one of the oldest known sightings of a creature fitting the description of the skunk ape took place in the early 1800s, with reports of other large bipedal creatures going back even further. The first reported sightings were by Native Americans, and since then it's been suggested that there's different kinds. According to reports, a group of sailors landed north of the Gulf of Mexico. As they pulled into the bay, they claimed to have spotted a creature covered in hair from head to toe and appeared similar to a 5-foot-tall baboon. The specific encounter was recorded back in 1818, but sightings of baboons the size of men would continue to be reported throughout the area until the mid-1800s. The descriptions of the creature's odour are often conflicting, with many eyewitness reports claiming that the smell is impossible to compare to any other known smell. Some witnesses have claimed that the smell of the creature was similar to a swampy fish smell, with a mixture of rotten fish and eggs. An even smaller number of witnesses have claimed that the creature gives off a somewhat chemical smell, comparing it to hydrogen sulfide, methane or swamp gas, while some testimonies have said that the creature suffers from an odour that is more akin to a wet dog. More commonly, however, the odour of the creature is reported exactly similar to that of a skunk, which is where the creature derives its name. The physical descriptions of the creature are far more consistent, with claims that the skunk ape is humanoid in shape, but without any form of defined neck, leaving its head resting flat on its shoulders. The creature has a human-like face, fur covering its body except for its face and palms, has well-defined muscles despite the covering of the fur, and appears to have a hump on its back that may or may not extend beyond the top of the creature's head. Researchers have often quoted the two prominent early Native American tribes that had once resided around the modern-day areas of Florida and Louisiana, feature reported encounters with the creature within their local mythologies that directly match with descriptions commonly associated with the skunk ape creature. This claim, however, is only partly true. One of the local Native American tribes, the Miccosukee, features stories of a swamp-like creature referred to as the Shawanoki. Some researchers have incorrectly translated this to mean a mysterious swamp-dwelling creature, and so have made the connection that the creature must be referring to the skunk ape, of which is commonly reported in areas of swamps. The truth, however, is that the Shawanoki directly translates to snapping mouth, and was more commonly used to refer to hidden alligators or snapping turtles local to the area. An additional note to make is that the coincidence of the Shawanoki referring to the swamp and the skunk ape often being reported around a swamp is hardly a coincidence. Many of the areas throughout Louisiana and Florida feature swamps as their only form of wilderness, as it's nearly impossible to pave or develop any form of modern construction within swamp grounds. The other prominent Native American tribe does indeed feature a story that directly matches with reports and encounters with the skunk ape. Referred to by the Seminoles tribe as the St. Capi, of which directly translates to the tall man, the creature is a reportedly humanoid being that is often regarded as the protector of the surrounding woods and swamplands. If one was to find themselves chasing the creature, before long they would witness the animal vanish from sight, as if disappearing in the fog. Other titles for the creature were known as the Sand People, the Mangrove People, or the People Eaters. In the early morning, sometime around 6 a.m., two witnesses were driving into the town of Gainesville located within Florida, when they reported one of the first documented encounters with the skunk ape of the modern day. According to the two eyewitnesses, a mother who was travelling with her son, as they were travelling down Route 441, passing a 4-lane highway with an open grassy area that separated the lanes, a tall humanoid creature covered from head to toe in thick matted fur was standing between the lanes strolling across the grassy medians. The sighting, which occurred in the summer of 2000, allowed the witnesses to see the creature in bright daylight despite being only 6 a.m, but they didn't register what it was until they drove closer to where the creature was standing. According to the mother, the two had just passed the Painesville Prairie Preserve, a state park of more than 21,000 acres that consisted mostly of flat swamplands and unending miles of wet prairies and overgrown marshlands. believing the humanoid figure to have been a possible illegal hunter dressed up in matching camouflage, and due to the fact that no other cars were on the highway, the mother then slowed down to get a better look at the creature. The witnesses then claimed that the creature, described as a large beast, covered with brown fur, turned to face the two of them and began travelling towards their lane. Unsure of what to do, the driver stayed parked on the highway lane and waited for the creature to cross into the surrounding swampy nature preserve, watching its bipedal movements as it continued to pass them. At first, the witnesses claimed that they thought the creature could have been a normal but rather tall man, dressed in animal skins and furs that wrapped around him like a sweater. But as it continued near them, they realised that the creature was not human at all, and appeared more like a humanoid ape-like creature. Over the course of a few seconds, the humanoid creature crossed over the highway lanes and walked over the surrounding bank, disappearing into the nearby state park. During her report, the woman claimed that the creature stood somewhere between 7.5 to 8 feet tall, though it was impossible to accurately judge given the fact that she and her son were sitting in the car. Additionally, despite the fact that the ape-like creature was covered in fur from head to toe, the driver claimed that clear outlines of thick muscles could be seen that appeared to be very human-like, except for its large feet. The young boy would claim that it appeared that the creature ran quickly with a hunched-over posture, and looked like a human monkey or a caveman, crossing the lane in a total of about 15 seconds. Brevard County sighting, Cocoa, Florida. On the 15th of September back in 1989, a brother and sister would witness an 8-foot-tall bipedal creature that would reignite the legends of the skunk ape. According to the two eyewitnesses, they'd been driving from the town of Cocoa, Florida to Kissimmee, Florida late at night, sometime around 11 p.m. As the two were driving along Nova Road, located within Brevard County, the brother needed a temporary break to relieve himself after several hours of driving, and so pulled over to the side of the road for roughly 30 seconds. As he was standing outside the car, the sister began shouting that someone was coming, and that the brother should finish before they got into trouble. Glancing around, the brother then noticed what he described as a 7 or 8 foot tall dark bipedal humanoid running towards him, exiting from an area in the surrounding woods where snapped branches and debris could be seen. At first, the brother wasn't sure of who the person was, and worried that perhaps the person running towards them needed help. Due to Nova Road being a desolate 30-mile stretch of road that cuts through thousands of acres of untouched swamp and wetlands, the brother was certain that there should be no one out in the wilderness unless they were in danger. Upon closer examination of the fast-approaching creature, however, it became clear to the brother that the tall humanoid was something completely inhuman, covered entirely in hair and striding along the ground as if the creature was about to attack. The brother ran back to the car and began pulling away as fast as possible. After driving several miles, the brother began to slow the car down once more for another break when he noticed the creature following them on the road, now lit up in a red glowing tint due to the car's brake lines. Without any further hesitation, the brother slammed on the pedal and left the creature behind, watching as it jumped back into the nearby swampland. After the dawning of the space race, humanity continued very little projects in that of space exploration, and instead used the majority of funds for continued space research. Due to this new initiative, it became imperative for space agencies to establish permanent space stations in space to help with continuing research projects and plans. This led to the creation of the International Space Station, which can be used by all nations and governments in a joint effort to further research. Of course, attempting to understand a brave new frontier comes with a variety of strange and mysterious circumstances that researchers are still trying to better understand. One thing that interests many people is that of the strange objects that can allegedly be seen in the background of the International Space Station, which has led many to come to the conclusion that strange objects are coming into contact with the ISS. Interestingly, many of these objects appear to come in different shapes and sizes, ranging from the triangle, cigar and disc. One woman was able to capture what she said was strange objects close to the International Space Station. The woman who filmed these objects said that she was watching the live cam footage via her television, and when she saw the objects come on the screen she quickly grabbed her phone. She said she was surprised that these objects were able to keep such a strict formation, and that the whole time they were on the screen they didn't appear to break formation. When the video was posted to social media, many people couldn't explain what these objects were. The woman detailed that shortly after these objects were seen, the camera was then shut off, something that viewers have often said happens when something strange comes into the International Space Station cameras. One user said the following: "I've often spent time watching this screen and doing exactly what this woman has done, uploading it onto my TV and trying to spot something that looks out of the ordinary. I don't think this is space debris, and what I find strange is that these objects match the overall appearance of objects that we see on Earth, including triangular crafts. I find it amazing that there could be so much activity happening above us at any given time, and the majority of us never even know that this is happening." Others carried on and said this isn't the first time that something strange has been detected by the ISS. The live footage from the International Space Station has often been used by some as proof that we're not alone. For those that are unaware, the International Space Station has a variety of cameras to monitor spacewalks and other areas that need to be under 24-hour surveillance. This has allowed the agency to play live footage on internet shows, websites, live television broadcasting and so on, to help build up an interest in space, gather footage for people to see, or to even take up watching time on the public broadcasting network for the United States under the NASA administration. Recently there have been a number of events where footage of strange objects have been seen floating in the distance, and this has led many to believe that they could be coming from another system. After such incidents are spotted, the footage will later be removed or edited. The live feed will be cut or the entire incident will be completely ignored by NASA. Recently, these changes have become so apparent that NASA has admitted that the majority of the live feed broadcasted as being live is actually much older than many people believe. In fact, there have been several proven instances by the BBC of the NASA live footage having been old footage, dating back to 2015 being played during a 2018 live broadcast. This report was detailed around recent space videos that were uploaded, with the website saying that users were actually watching old footage. There are websites that you can visit where you can watch a live feed from the International Space Station, and this is what people are referring to when they say they can see these strange objects. NASA suggests that anyone who wants to see a video from space should look at their official social media pages, or that of the International Space Station. NASA's current chief Bill Nelson did send out a message though, saying that he and NASA hope that these mysterious aircrafts don't belong to other countries. Bill Nelson said the following: "We hope it's not an adversary here on Earth that has that kind of technology." While talking about asteroids and what NASA would do if one is on a collision course with Earth, he openly talked about these mysterious aircrafts, continuing with the following: "Before we leave, I haven't even talked about the search for extraterrestrial life. What do you think we're doing on Mars? We're looking for life. This is part of NASA's mission. That's what this telescope is going to be looking for. Are there other planets elsewhere where there's life? I know what you've seen is what those Navy pilots saw in 2004, and there have been some 300 sightings since then. I've talked to those pilots and they know that they saw something, and their radars locked onto it, and then all of a sudden it was here on the surface and then it's there, and they don't know what it is and we don't know what it is. We hope it's not an adversary here on Earth that has that kind of technology, but it's something, and so this is a mission that we're constantly looking into. What or who is out there? Who are we? How did we get here? How did we become as we are? How did we develop? How did we civilize? And are those same conditions out there in a universe that has billions of other suns in billions of other galaxies? It's so large I can't conceive it." Another interesting piece of footage was recently captured by the International Space Station, and it showed what appeared to be a large triangular-shaped aircraft. Those who saw the live feed described it as passing by the camera relatively quickly, noting that the sighting only lasted a few seconds, so it was likely that most people never even knew it was there in the first place. What's strange is that many of these triangular-shaped objects have shown up on the International Space Station cameras, and it's led some to question where these objects are coming from. Not everyone is won over by these claims though, with some suggesting that these objects could be a number of things, including space debris, satellites or camera glitches. NASA doesn't often reply to these types of sightings, but when they have, they've said that the most likely answer is that what people are seeing is just space debris, and that sometimes these objects can take on the appearance of aircrafts, when in reality it's just something small that's being distorted. According to former NASA engineer James Oberg, he went on to say that these objects are just space debris floating in front of cameras. When they appear in front of their cameras, they give off the effect that something much larger is there, when in reality what people are seeing has a natural origin. He said the following: "I've had enough experience with real spaceflight to realize that what's being seen in many videos is nothing beyond the norm, from fully mundane phenomena occurring in unearthly settings." Another NASA official said the following about these sightings: "The majority of these alleged sightings can be easily explained. One of the things that people see is space debris that's made its way in front of their cameras. When these pieces of debris are up close, it can look like a strange object. In reality, people are just seeing a common piece of space debris." Scientists don't seem fazed by these discoveries, and have said they don't want to comment on these types of discoveries anymore. But amateur researchers are still of the opinion that there's something more mysterious going on. Space is one of the last unexplored frontiers for humans, and with that comes an air of mystery. There's many of us that want to believe that we're not alone, and that there's other intelligent life forms out there. But NASA has said that amateur researchers have it all wrong, and there's never been any proof that we've been visited. So what do you make of these interesting reports? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.